This is the area in Denmark where my family originated. Mainly around Fredericia, although some of my roots are in the Jelling area and the Skanderborg area. Jelling and Skanderborg are both on Jutland, but north of Fredericia. This chart shows my great-grandfather Claus Jensen and his wife Louisa highlighted in yellow, and Klaus's parents in the top right corner. All of Klaus's brothers and sisters and their known spouses are included. 3 of the siblings died as children. I know my cousins who are also descended from Klaus. And I know my cousins both here in the US and in Denmark who are descended from Anne. I visited Bent and his wife Gerda during my stay in Denmark. Bent is the great-grandson of Anne. Bent and Gerda took me to visit their daughter Lisbeth, her husband Morten, and their 2 sons Casper and Felix. I also know many of my cousins, both here in the US and in Denmark, who are descended from Jens. This is Birte and me in front of Amalienborg Palace on the Queen's birthday. Ib and I walked the ramparts around Fredericia. Hilde is the widow of Fritz, grandson of Jens. She made a delicious vegetarian dinner when I was there. Christian is the son of Hilde and Fritz, and Karina is his girlfriend. I traveled all over Denmark with Christian and stayed with both of them at Karina's home in Aarhus. Martin is Christian's brother, so also a great-grandson of Jens. Here he is with his uncle Ib, his wife Birgitta, and his 2 beautiful daughters. 6 siblings lived to maturity, but none of us know any of their descendants. Despite not knowing much about Lords, I have a picture of him that Christian gave me. And I have a picture of my great-grandfather Klaus. And one of Jens. And now, for the first time in about 100 years, here are the 3 brothers together again side by side. Our first stop was the village of Egeskov. Egeskov means oak forest. Christian drove us there. Egeskov is the parish church for this area. It is an active church even today. Originally a tea pavilion, this small building is now a chapel. You can see Rands Fjord in the background. The church is right on the edge of Rands Fjord. It is a Romanesque church with a nave and choir from the mid-1100s. The tower and porch were added a few centuries later in the late Gothic period. The bronze bell is from 1790. It weighs about 700 pounds. Here is the church record of my great-grandfather Klaus's christening. Klaus is the first entry. I deleted the second entry so that I could insert an English translation. The original Danish is at the top, and the English translation below. Klaus Jensen, christened in the church, July 16, 1854. On the left you can see the baptismal font that was used to christen Klaus. That's Ib by the altar rail. The canopy is Baroque from the end of the 17th century. The font is Romanesque and is probably as old as the oldest part of the church, that is, mid-1100s. This chart starts with my great-grandfather Klaus. Here I've highlighted his father Jens Lauersen. This is Jens's confirmation record from the church. His is the last entry on the page. So you see that my great-great-grandfather Jens was also christened in this church in 1811, and it was as Jens's great-great-grandson that I signed the guest book at the church. We know that he was buried here from this old church record. I put the English translation directly above the entry for Jens in the church record. He's in the graveyard someplace. As is his wife Ingeborg, my great-great-grandmother. Here is the record showing her burial. We couldn't find her either. These two small holes behind me in the south wall that are now filled in are called the leprosy holes. The sacrament would be handed to the sick through these holes. The altarpiece is carved oak from the 1670s, the Baroque period. Like the altarpiece, the pulpit is also a Baroque work carved in oak. You can see Christian walking up the steps in the background. The gallery is pine in the Baroque style of the late 1600s. There are 13 panels, the middle one being of Jesus preaching. Until 1929, the other panels were covered with brown paint, and it was believed that underneath there were paintings of the 12 apostles. During restoration, though, 12 paintings of field flowers were uncovered. The organ is modern, from 1982. This crucifix on the north wall, though, is from the late 1400s, the late Gothic period. It was one of the only things spared by the Swedes who ravaged this area during the wars between 1657 and 1660. Nearly everything in the church was burned. The church's silver was looted and carried off to Sweden, but the building and this crucifix survived. This is a spur in a museum box on the inside of the church. I added an English translation and some additional notes to understand it a bit better.